Hello, this is Baran and I'm gonna explain you how I play the Bastion. So look in the garage, see what my setup is. I use a sticky grenade launcher instead of a Tesla rifle. This is good for AoE damage. I use a multi-turret, pretty good one, 60 damage, 18 recharge, 7 turrets, a lot of health. I use a basic rocket turret. You could use a charge pulse generator, it's up to you. I use an HKM supply station. Look at this one, this is the weakest station you could build. If you look at the hyperkinesis model, it only gives 20%, and the only real stat that I went for is the recharge time. It only has 60.66 recharge time, which is in seconds, by the way. Then the Fortify. I use the new one, because the old one in my previous video was apparently nerfed and I was unaware of it. I crafted the best I could, but I didn't went into the purples because purples are very expensive, and the total of resources required to build this is 4,800 resources. So if you buy those resources at 15 per unit, you will spend roughly, plus all the other components you put in, an 86,000 crystite on it. So this is the price tag for this Fortify. And if you want to know the price tag for the HKM station, hyperkinesis models, the lowest ones go for 20k, and the component that is causing the 16 seconds recharge costs around 40k, so estimate between 60 and 70k, maybe 80k max for a basic HKM station, the weakest of the weakest. Then the Overseer, I use a basic Overseer. If you compare this Overseer with the stock Overseer, the stats are exactly the same, except the constraints costs are lower, so I prefer using a stage 1 because the lower constraint costs. Same goes for my Accord servos. The servos also have lower constraint cost on the basic one, and it has the same stats, so why not go for the lower constraint cost. The plating, best plating you can get. The more survivability you have, the better. That speaks for itself. Jump jets, not a good one, but stage 4 is plenty for me. If I look at the power allocation, I assign 200% to my multi-turret, because 7 turrets multiplied by 2 is going to give me the most benefit in damage due to the Fortify HKM effect. For the rest I assign to my HKM. I don't really need signature weapon to be boosted, I have plenty of damage for that, it's not really necessary. Now let's have a look, let's go to the same spot like on my previous video. I'm gonna try to get there as soon as possible to save time. So if you look on the map, you can see other thumpers are visible, and people will generally flock there and try to help the thumper out, so they get a benefit of resources. But if I thump in this off-sin zone, then nobody will spot my thumper and I can do it solo without having any interferences. What is important about the HKM station is the effect of the Fortify on it. The Fortify gives a multiplication of 1.3 if you crafted it the best you could, which means that a 20% HKM station charge is gonna result in 25%, so instead of deploying 5 you will only have to deploy 4 for a full HKM charge. Also, the HKM charge is also affected by the damage you deal, so you will probably only have to do 2 or 3 HKM station deployments to get a full HKM bar, which still is very good. You don't really need to go all out on the HKM stations. The 20% base one is more than plenty. Okay, I'm on off sin right now. I'm not gonna scan for the highest peak, I'm just gonna deploy it here. Here you see the squad thumper, it says danger, only recommended for 4 to 5 players. Let's try it solo.
Turret deploy, and his name shall be turret up! Turret deploy!
I'm gonna try spreading out my other turrets a bit further away, so they draw the creatures away from the thumper. It's always best to avoid too much stack up on your thumper, because they will do AoE damage or stuff like that, and it's not going to be any good to them. Same goes for the turrets. If you all deploy your turrets in one big nest, these thresholds will come to that, do a tail swipe, and all your turrets get damage, and so it's better to not stack them up too much.
Turn up!
Like I said earlier, you could replace that heavy turret with a charged pulse generator, and then you have to deploy it around your thumper. This will help doing AoE on the little mobs that flock to it, but I prefer just using my sticky grenade launcher. It does plenty of AoE damage, and I can control the situation better with this. I also believe that the heavy turret is gonna benefit more than from the HKM station than the charged pulse generator, because the charged pulse generator needs creatures around it to activate, and it's only gonna activate every so often, I believe every 2 seconds. And the heavy turret is gonna be blasting constantly, and thus resulting in a better damage output. People often wonder what add-ons do you use. I don't use any add-ons except for the thumper monitor add-on. This shows on top of my screen how much high HP the thumper has got and how much time left to complete. It's very handy because right now I'm facing the weight of the thumper and I can see if it's getting hit or not due to looking at this small screen. Good spots to thump are usually against the wall. Try to get cover, so you don't want to thump in an open area where there is no coverage. You want to use bottlenecks as much as possible, even if it means you're gonna have a less resource gain due to it, because the peak isn't there, but it's still gonna be easier for you to gain the resources. This is, I believe, the second HKM I've popped. There aren't many creatures, so it's not really a necessity to have this damage outboost or this doubling effect of your damage. So now I have roughly 1 minute left before the boss wave hits. I'm going to keep this HKM, I'm not gonna consume it. That way I'm gonna have it ready at the moment the bosses hit. I'm gonna deploy a station and I'm gonna leave it here because I can run over it straight after popping my HKM and gaining 25% charge. And after that I only have 2 seconds left for the new one to deploy. This means that I can run over it, deploy a new one, run over that one and have around 50% HKM charge. This is gonna help me to get a second HKM ready when the second boss wave spawns. Here they are, HKM popped, run over, deploy the new one, run over. I have roughly 60% HKM charge now, so the other HKM charge should come from the damage my turrets and myself deal. You can see it generally rising. I'm hoping that I don't have to deploy a second station. I could not, so I deployed another station, popped another HKM. Trying to keep the damage up on the thumper, drawing the creatures away, like you see. I'm always trying to keep the thumper in front of me and the creatures in between me, that I'm 100% sure. Third wave has spawned and I'm only half HKM charge. This means that I'm now gonna have a little bit more difficulties than with a better HKM station, but I think I can still manage. I'm totally avoiding all those big ones because they are not doing damage to the thumper anyway. I am guiding them, so to speak. There you see, third HKM station popped, and the real damage on the thumper is gonna come from the little ones that are unattended. Actually, the thumper is already at 100%, but I'm just clearing off these creatures before rushing to my thumper and pressing E on it because I have aggro, and all those creatures will follow me towards the thumper and maybe deal enough damage to destroy it in the end, or even kill me while I'm pressing the E button. So I just want to play safe here and clear this out a little, clear the coast, and then press E on the thumper. So now I had a fourth HKM popped on this, should there be any boss creatures left, but it wasn't necessary, so I think I could now go and safely retract my thumper. And there you go, 53% left, heavy squad thumper, normally something to do with 5 people, but I'm soloing this and I think everybody can do this. It's a very fun build, it's something refreshing, it's stepping away from all the tradition, and it will result in a lot of resources in the end, so go for it and good luck.